In this video, I'm going to go over a rule that a lot of fans don't know. I'm going to do some pushback on what I hear all the time from Jordan haters. They say Jordan needed the NBA to help him win rings. They say the flagrant foul saved Michael Jordan and allowed him to become the greatest player of all time. And there is no doubt that the flagrant rule, the flagrant foul that is, changed the NBA forever. And so for sure, a lot of things change if the flagrant rule or flagrant foul is not a foul and it's just, the common NBA foul like it was back in the day. I'm not going to debate that, but here's my pushback. Most Jordan haters are the same ones to say that the rough defense isn't real defense, and they disrespect the defenders of that time. They don't agree with the play, and they say it's not real basketball. I would say the flopping isn't real basketball either. This isn't my point, but it would only make sense that the NBA would make the sport, be more friendly for players and for their stars. Also, what the Jordan rules was different than the regular flagrant foul. The fouls themselves weren't different from normal flagrant fouls that were flagrant fouls, but the thing that set them apart was the Jordan rules were specifically for Jordan, and more so as well as the Bulls themselves, as they got more physical treatment than other teams. But other teams also had the physical treatment as well. Michael Jordan was not a fan of the Jordan rules and the Detroit Pistons, but a lot of teams weren't either.
He tried to shoot that shot.
Nice play by Darren Day. It doesn't fall. The tip by Parrish. He can't get it to fall, and Parrish takes Lambert to the ground with a right forearm.
The security guards are out on the floor right now, too.
Well, they had said it was only a matter of time till somebody did this.
Well, let's watch. You see a left elbow there. Does Parrish get him in the left? Whoa, boy. I couldn't see what. Underneath the basket here, Lambert and Parrish going for the rebound, and Robert Parrish just two right left to the face of Bill Lambert. Let's see what happens here now. What's going to be the call?
Well, Lambert was fined $5,000 for his action against Bird in Detroit. Bird fined $2,000. And a lot of people have said around the league that sooner or later, because of Lambert's physical reputation, that sooner or later somebody was going to clobber him. Whether it's deserved or not is for somebody else to judge. Darren Day picks up a foul, and we understand that Robert Parrish is not going to be ejected. That's what my information says. He is still on the floor.
Now, something had to be called on Robert Parrish. That's got to be a punching foul or something. I don't know what the deal is here, but Robert Parrish just hit him in the face twice. There's got to be something. That's got to be more than just a foul on Darren Day. And I'm not trying to choose sides, but watching the game and watching the replay, that was two punches to the face.
It is really hard to believe, considering what has happened in the history of this series, that flagrant forearm by Robert Parrish, whether it was deserved or not, is beside the point for what I'm saying. Parrish does not even get called for a foul. The foul was called on Day prior to that play.
That was not
Thomas
right.
shoots.
That was not right. Lambert should have shot 2 free throws. There should have been a technical, should be a punching foul, something, but there had to be something called. It's like it never even occurred. That's not right.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on these two to see what will happen. Parrish doesn't get the bounce. Rebound, Dantley. Isaiah throwing it.
Punching foul, flagrant forearm. You heard it. Bill Lambert didn't even shoot 2 free throws. When we say the basketball was different back then, y'all want to show us little clips, things of that nature. You don't know. You don't watch the games. It's kind of sad. But as you see here, Nothing was called, and something had to be called. You can't just punch someone in the face like that. But nothing seemed to come out of that. And so, yeah, Michael Jordan, you want to say they needed Michael Jordan to win championships. He was a star. He was a star before he won championships, so it would help. Okay, I agree. At the end of the day, they needed something to stop stuff like that. I'm a component of hard fouling. That's uncalled for. And we all know that's uncalled for. And that's why a flagrant foul was called. And the flagrant foul back then was different than the flagrant foul now, as they get real technical with it, which back in the day, if it looked like it was actually flagrant, then it was a flagrant foul. It wasn't technical. It wasn't like, his elbow dropped. But I have more to this. My old channel was demonetized, and I'll touch up on that later. But I bring that up to say this. I do have another video about did Jordan need Scottie Pippen, and I kind of cover the first seasons without Scottie Pippen, and I kind of cover this as well. But firstly, when Jordan first got into the league, he went against Defensive Player of the Year, Sidney Moncrief, who was also the guard who would be guarding Michael Jordan. And you look at their teams, and the teams are there. You could look it up online if you wanna. If you're not really too sure about like their skill set, and you do play 2K, you can go on 2K and look at those teams. You let me know how you think that matchup would have gone. And then, of course, Michael Jordan went against the Boston Celtics, arguably the greatest team of all time. They have Larry Bird, many Hall of Famers, Kevin McHale, severely underrated. Dennis Johnson, though not in his prime, did bring his team, Seattle, a championship. They have a lot of success. Robert Parrish, another unsung hero, very successful. You saw him in the last clip. And they beat Jordan before he had a real good team, before he had Scottie Pippen or anything like that. But the Pistons, right? So the Pistons used the Jordan rules to beat Jordan, and, they took the flagrant foul away, so it affected the Jordan rules. And so, pushback number 2. Teams were still physical after the Jordan rules, or even after the flagrant foul, that is, yes, 80s basketball, 70s to a degree, I would say mainly 80s basketball, most physical basketball. But right there is definitely the 90s basketball. 90s basketball was almost as physical. The flagrant foul, it wasn't called like it is today again, and they were implementing hard fouls. If you don't know about hard fouls, I'll see if I can find a clip to show you.
It would have been better for Charles to foul him all the way than halfway fouling.
Foul called on Barkley. 4-point lead for Chicago. It's to use the clock.
And remember, I was talking about whether Charles would hard foul Michael Jordan. It was time for that hard foul right there. Instead of hard fouling, he lets Jordan get it up, and he compounded by fouling him, and it's a chance for the three-point play.
whether it's hard fouls, things of that nature. Still a very physical era, which Michael Jordan dominated in. A lot of teams, like the New York Knicks, the Pacers, even the Pistons, still try to keep that hard persona where they foul you hard and play real gritty and dirty. Didn't stop Jordan from winning championships, right? So let's go back to the Pistons. As you see here, it says they played in 1988 to 90 season. The other teams, yeah, they were physical with Jordan, but they were just better. They were just a better team, and that's why Jordan couldn't beat them. But the Pistons, even though, yes, they were a better team, Jordan would have naturally gotten better. The Bulls would have naturally gotten better, as they did get Scottie Pippen, even though his first couple years before they did win, Scottie was really a non-factor. Truth is, the Detroit Pistons used that physicality to beat the Bulls. As you see, they did beat them in 5 and later beat them in 7. And when I say 5, I mean it was a best-of-5 series. The series was 3-2. So put that into context, will you? Same when Jordan got swept. To be honest, if you give this same player the benefit of the doubt, just like you do now, you watch basketball players, you're like, oh no, he won't get swept. They have an extra game. If Michael Jordan had an extra game, you're just not going to give him one? You think for sure he wouldn't have won? There's no way to prove or disprove that. But it is a fact that the Pistons did use the flagrant fouls to their advantage. That there was not a flagrant foul to their advantage. They used the physicality to their advantage. So unlike the Bucks and the Celtics, which did play physical, yes, they weren't like the Pistons. And as you see, they played first 1988, 1990. The NBA changed the rules for Jordan, they say. But they also changed the rules to stop Jordan as well. The illegal offense, no one likes to talk about it. Mainly used by the Bulls and Michael Jordan himself. What is the illegal offense? One player would be on one side. For the most part, all the other players would be on the other side. And they would just sit there and wait. And Jordan would just go ISO.
What did they call? I have no idea what they called.
The Pistons were called for an illegal isolation offense on their last possession, last half-court possession anyway, of the first quarter.
Well, this rule was put in at the beginning of the year to keep 3 players from standing above the foul line on the opposite side of the floor, and then isolating and playing 2-man basketball by bringing a guy over like a Lambeer to play a pick and roll with Joe Dumars. What must happen this year is only 2 guys can be up in that area. The other player must be below the foul line, someplace from the foul line down into the corner, so that the defense can have a guy down there. So now that if you run a pick and roll, he can help out. It's very seldom called because it's been very seldom used.
Sixers go to Willie Burton out of the timeout, and now we'll get a whistle.
They get an illegal offense, George.
That's an isolation violation.
You don't see that called very often. What happens, they had 3 guys out top. You got to have 1 guy down in the corner.
Illegal offense rule, sometimes called the Michael Jordan rule. As you heard, the NBA didn't use it, Michael Jordan mainly used it. 87, 88 season, so Michael Jordan was not allowed to use that rule that was deemed overpowering, just like the Pistons couldn't use their flagrant fouls in the 91 season. And yes, Jordan did use those isolation zone offense against, the Celtics. But like I said before, the Celtics were a way superior team, and a tactic like that wasn't going to stop the Celtics. Larry Bird, one of the greatest players of all time, he says that's his best year. That team was just amazing, and some people, again, consider that the greatest team of all time. As that team did beat another GOAT, in my opinion, Olajuwon, in the 86 finals in 6 games. And though Olajuwon was young, they did beat the Lakers which was the Celtics' rival. So, I mean, it's safe to say the Celtics would probably beat the Lakers too. Safe to say Hakeem probably might have a championship if they didn't go against that great Celtics team. At least another championship, that is. So when you say Jordan needed the NBA to implement the flagrant fouls for him to have the success he has, again, I don't want to push back too much on the fact that the flagrant foul definitely drastically changes the NBA as we know it. But again, consider this. Before the Pistons series, they were going against far superior teams. Then, even with the Pistons series, you have the flagrant foul, which, let's be honest, needed to be changed. 2, Jordan won, even with physicality being a big part of the NBA still. And 3, the NBA changed the rule against Jordan before they helped Jordan with a rule. Now put that into context. The teams and all the other stuff, and really use your brains when you say Michael Jordan needed the NBA to change the flagrant foul. Until next time, salam.
Stop it. Get some help.
This is Juba Jordan here. If you did like the video, consider subscribing, even giving it a like. I definitely appreciate that. If you are interested in the channel, you could always look at the old channel just to get caught up on some videos. This channel here, yes, I'm going to push back on narratives like I did in the past, but this channel is mainly going to be underrated knowledge. Underrated knowledge, stuff that people should know, but they don't. Until next time, salam.